Welcome to Ascension Whispers. My name is Marie Love, and this is the continuation of the Eternal Conscious Creation series. I had no clue when I recorded the last video share that winter was going to attack and be so harsh. So it has been a long winter in our hologram, and trying to keep the wood stove going. That's why I have not had the opportunity to create another recording. Because when it's that cold, I have to have a space heater at my desk, and it makes noise, which shows up on the recording, so that wouldn't be good. At the moment, it's trying to be spring, but that's just at the moment. I'm told that we're going to go into below freezing temperatures again tomorrow with freezing rain and maybe even some snow. So I'm taking advantage of this moment in time to record some of this. There's a whole lot to record. In the last video, we were exploring the Time Matrix galaxy and getting ready to look at the steps by which a hologram is created. And we still need to pause on that for a little bit because I need to share with you an important reconnection that occurred on February 12th during the time shift that occurred then. And in order to share that with you, I need to share a lot of other information to allow you to understand what that reconnection is about. So the first thing we need to look at is the embodied eternal life grid and see how it looks now and compare it to how it has looked for 26,000 years with the 2/3 fall grid. And please excuse my image analogies, as sometimes I find it quite challenging in creating images of different parts of things to explain something, especially when it comes to making 3D images. This time I'm going to just keep going until I reach the end of the wave, and that's going to make a really large file. So when I get to the end of the wave, at the point where I have to stop so that I can put some more together to do the next recording, then I'll try to separate it out into smaller files for those who have to download the videos to view them. That's not my forte, so I will do the best that I can with that. So in this first image here, we see the embodied eternal life grid, and it embodies exactly the way that it looks. The little blue lines within the body are simply my attempt at showing that the subtle energy body is a crystal body anatomy, but it's not hard crystal like we think of crystal on the planet. When we are experiencing a higher level of physical expression, we would simply not be as dense as we are in this carbon-based biology, but the form would still feel solid to us. So starting at the top of the body, we have the 12th chakra, which is located approximately 6 inches above the head. It is the Christed mind, and steps down to create polarized chakras 11 and 10, which are on the same plane. And chakras 11 and 10 are the right and left brain in our current physical body. In your plane 4 expression, chakras 11 and 10 are the physical body expression. Next we have chakra 9 of the vertical pillar, which is the oversoul mind, and it's located at the fontanelle, or the soft spot on the top of the head. And the 9th chakra steps down to create polarized chakras 7 and 8, which are located right behind the ears. And in plane 3, that is the polarized energy, chakras 7 and 8 is connected to the polarized energy of your physical body expression in plane 3. These are the chakras that, when working correctly, allow the energy coming into the physical body to strike the inner ear mechanisms to allow you to hear a tonal voice. As we go through this, you will see why very few people have been able to experience that type of communication. Next is chakra 6, which is the third eye pineal gland, and is located on a horizontal line from the center of your forehead between your eyes, but is actually back in the head from that position, about in the center of the brain. This is your soul mind. Chakra 6 steps down and creates polarized chakras 4 and 5, which is associated with frequency bands 4 and 5. Chakra 4 is, of course, the heart chakra. But there is supposed to be another heart at chakra 5, and this has not manifested within the human form ever since Mars was attacked and blown up. We'll understand more of that later when we can look at the images for the solar system. Chakra 5 has gained a bad reputation because of the distortion within the grid that forced it into the throat area. The function of the second heart of Chakra 5 is associated with the ego. Both hearts work together to create balance between the love feeling that comes through the heart chakra and the personal desire for gratification, maintaining balance between these types of personal expressions. The issues that people have in being able to communicate effectively with each other and the fear of public speaking is a result of Chakra 5 being pushed into the throat area and creating a ball of energy that can sometimes make it feel like you're choking or coughing on something stuck within your throat. If you ever noticed a time when you may have spoken too quickly or said something about someone you did not intend for them to hear, there will be a ball of energy that builds in the gut area and rapidly moves up to the throat area, where it feels like it gets stuck, and your whole body feels like it's going into hyperventilation until you can calm that energy down. That is why that energy has nowhere to go, and it feels like you're choking on your emotions. When the fifth heart stopped manifesting and Chakra 5 was pushed into the throat area, it created a false ego, which has been blamed for all kinds of things, as I'm sure we all know. Mostly the inability to control the need for self-gratification. There's more to that we'll see later when we can look at some other pieces here. That is why such things come from the false ego, which has been controlled by the virus to get what it wants for self-gratification. It is also this distortion of the fifth chakra being pushed into the throat that creates thyroid issues. Because of the empty space that the missing heart left within the physical body structure. The physical heart that we know, we have a physical heart in our body, was pulled more towards the center of the body. And the two hearts together also assisted when they were there, helping to balance the function of the lungs, because what is called the base pulse rhythm, which is controlled by the accretion rate of energy unto the planetary system, and within the body the accretion rate affects the heart rate, or the speed at which the heart beats, and also the speed at which the lungs breathe. When you are experiencing within higher healed reality fields, the base pulse rhythm is much faster because the planets in the higher planes spin faster, and the accretion rate coming into the rate of energy coming into the planet occurs faster. So the base pulse rhythm is faster. So the missing heart, there's so much distortion that's occurred within these mutated bodies that's kind of a tiny piece that at this point doesn't really matter a whole lot. The matter body expression of plane 2, consisting of frequency bands 4 and 5, is considered the astral body, and therefore the astral plane. But when the subconscious mind was created at the 2.75 frequency band level, this false plane of the subconscious mind, false because it's not organic to the eternal life form, became the false astral plane. and is the level within this reality field where the mutated ETs have played their little tricks upon the sleeping consciousness of the subconscious mind. They can park their matter spaceships out of range of view to the public at this level, at 2.75 frequency band, because the public cannot see that level of energy with their physical eyes. Next is chakra 3 in the central vertical pillar that is approximately 2 inches above the navel, and which steps down energy to create polarized chakras 2 and 1. Chakra 2 is in the right ovary of the female body and the right testicle of the male body. And chakra 1 is located in the left ovary of the female body and the left testicle of the male body. We'll come back to this some more in a bit because there's a lot more to talk about with these chakras. Located at the navel below chakra 3 is the subconscious mind at the 2.75 frequency band level, which came into play when the Atlantean attack occurred and the 2/3 fall in energy occurred. It came into play because consciousness could not accrete any higher than the 2.75 frequency band, and so consciousness, us, has pooled at that level of energy since the attack. Since the subconscious mind is not an organic part of the eternal life form, but became part of the eternal life form, it is that level of the subconscious mind that our thoughts have been coming from that have created this distorted hologram. And we still need to, I'm kind of anal when it comes to having all of my ducks lined up in a row. I like for things to be linear. So it would be nice if I could have shared with you before sharing this information the bits and pieces about how a hologram is created. But we're going to look at that later, just not in sequence like I thought we were. Prior to the Atlantean attack, it was not possible for physical body ascension to occur, which is transmuting the matter base of the physical body into pure light and ascending to a higher plane with the energy of the matter body as well, not having to drop the body, die the physical body, but be able to transmute it into pure light and take that energy with you when you ascend. But consciousness could manifest into the earth reality field directly from the 3-point mental body seat, as healing had occurred over millions of years to allow for that to be possible. And at least consciousness could get back out, even though the body could not be transmuted and turned into pure light. In this small white box down here with the red arrow, you see it says blue lines equals step down. That means step down of energy. Green lines equals step up, and the orange lines equal polarized within the physical body structure. I've simply colored those lines within the embodied grid so we could see the flow of energy of the non-polarized vertical pillars and the polarized chakras. And there's more to understand about the eternal life grid, a whole lot more to understand about that, that we'll eventually get to in different things. For instance, if you look at down here, we'll look at the bottom of the eternal life grid, and you see the 12 0 point at the bottom of the grid, and the 1, 2, and the 3. And you see the line going on the horizontal plane between 1 and 2. Well, that is the matter reality field, the matter base that we see in plane 1 as our matter base, the planet that we're walking around upon, the physical body that our consciousness is imbued within. And above that line, in between that line, that horizontal line, and the number 3, that would be considered as the atmosphere and the air, expanding out into space, surrounding the planet out beyond the electromagnetic fields of the planet. The spaces on each side of the 3, between the 2 and the 5 and the 4 and the 1. You see the black spaces there. That's considered the void. It's neutral charged energy, non-polarized energy. It's the canvas or the sandbox, well, whatever you want to call it, that the hologram is created within. So that's considered the void. And when you look at points, I'm just using this as an example, points 1, 2, and 3, you can see that the configuration creates a pyramid. And so there is a whole lot more to understand in looking at the eternal life grid. And one of the things that plugs into later understanding is what's up with the pyramids on the planet. Why are there so many pyramids? Why are they above ground, below ground? What's all that about? And that's later on. But there's a whole lot of information that you can discover simply by focusing on looking at the eternal life grid and applying what you know mentally now to creation and the things that you see in your hologram and plugging those things into that grid. And so what does this mean? What does it mean that the 6 point is in the center of that vertical pillar there when it's expanded out like that in manifestation? So we'll continue revisiting the eternal life grid and plugging it into all of these other things to rediscover within our hologram. And now I've gotten out of sequence again, as is my normal thing here, so let me find my place. It is not an accident that the human body has been birthing on Earth for millions of years with an umbilical cord at the navel attached to the mother's body, as it is from that level of energy the incarnating consciousness has had to step into the matter body, and of course currently requires the mother's energy supply to flesh out the matter body within the womb to a high enough level to allow the incarnating consciousness to step into it. As I've already stated in previous videos, that is not an organic process for eternal life forms, as an eternal life form is supposed to simply co-create their own matter body by conducting the elements of the planet and then step into it. But it has become the normal process millions of years ago, actually, when the solar system was first attacked and the planets were blown up. Now, I realize that this information will be controversial for many people that have believed for thousands of years what the main chakra system is, the main embodied 7 chakras. And yet, for thousands of years, the believed main chakra system has kept the consciousness trapped within this false reality field, created the imbalance, distortion, and death of the physical body. For those who are awake and aware enough to consider these thoughts outside of the accepted norm, it would be wise to ask if there's something wrong within the physical body that allows it to die when it is constantly trying to heal itself. The accepted chakra system that has become so important within the earth paradigm that there are even religious, kind of like religious paradigms built up around it. But the accepted chakra system, the accepted embodied chakras, as far as the vertical 7 main chakras, that information, that awareness of there being 7 main points of energy within the body, and hey, you can do something with these to create an effect, that didn't start turning back on within the mass consciousness until sometime within the 8th century. And when it did start turning back onto awareness, these chakras, these 7 points of energy, were just counted in linear sequence. I mean, which is natural. If you don't know, that's what you would do. You would count them in linear sequence from bottom to top. And so they were just numbered 1 through 7. But it's not been possible for anyone to know exactly what chakras have been numbered 1 to 7 what they really are and what they're really connected to and what they've really been doing. And then when the information about chakras made its way from the Eastern cultures to the West, it was readapted again to conform to Western thinking. And it's simply remained that way all of this time because no one's been able to know the truth. It hasn't been possible. It's not that someone was lying, well, the virus was lying, or, that someone was pulling the wool over other people's eyes. It just hasn't been possible to know this information. Now we're going to look at the comparison of the embodied eternal life grid to the embodied 2/3 fall grid, and begin to understand some of the mess that we have been dealing with for thousands of years and that we're healing from, and why we're experiencing, at least what I can share in this moment. I'm sure there'll continue to be more awareness awakened, why we're experiencing the major ups and downs that we are within our physical body. Just so you know, there was information presented by another writer that shows a different way this 2/3 fall grid is supposedly embodied within the human body. But I'm told that information was the virus speaking and trying to make sense to the embodied consciousness, us, whomever looked at that information, as to how the 2/3 fall grid could embody to line up with the beliefs that people have held for thousands of years. Because when you look at this, it embodies, I'm told, I see, it embodies exactly the way that it looks. And when you look at that, it doesn't really line up with what people have thought for thousands of years. Well, it kind of does a little bit, but in reality, in the truth of it, it doesn't, as far as just saying 1 through 7. This is 1 through 7. It doesn't line up like that. Of course, you'll have to decide that for yourself, as I'm just simply sharing my truth with you, my awareness that's opening within myself. And as I keep saying, believe nothing. Believe absolutely nothing that anyone tells you until you feel it and know it within yourself. We can see right away that chakras 3, 6, and 9 were forced out of alignment to the right side of the body. And of course, you're looking at this image as it's in front of you, and it looks like the right and left sides reversed. But to make that image correct, you would have to pick it up and wear it, like put it on the front of your shirt, and then you would see that the left and right side of the body is as I have it there in that image. So we can see that the 3, 6, and 9, which is of the vertical pillar, was forced out of alignment into the right side of the body. This is why people are sleepwalking. They cannot connect with their higher family of consciousness, cannot have higher conscious thoughts, feel trapped and fearful, and may wonder if Source even exists. Of course, the 12th chakra, 6 inches above the head, was taken offline because the virus attacked at the 11.5 frequency band level. And as we can see within the physical anatomy, that's within the brain. It attacked within the brain of the conscious life forms. Why did it attack within the brain? Well, because that's the highest frequency band of the polarized frequency bands, the matter illusion of the matter base that it could attack. And why the brain? Because that's the control center for the physical body, for the planet, for every living being is the brain. So first you got to take the brain out of commission so that you can do your dirty work within the rest of the system. Chakras 11, 8, 5, and 2 were pulled into the vertical pillar, which means they were depolarized or turned off and then rewired by the virus, because the vertical pillar is the non-polarized energy flow that's supposed to bring the higher energy of source into the lower reality fields. But chakra 12 had been taken offline, and it all occurred instantly. I'm trying to go through it with you as if it occurred in steps, but it was an instant thing that occurred here. And the vertical pillar chakras were pulled to the right side, and then those chakras, the 11, 8, 5, and 2, were pulled into the central vertical pillar to create a new pillar. And what does that new pillar connect to? When it connects to the 11th chakra of that 2/3 fall grid, it can't plug in to the 12th chakra. So what has that connected to? The 11 point is the seat of the Lord. And the Lord is Lord Metatron. That's where the concept of the term Lord came from. And the 10th point within the 2/3 fall grid is the Lord's, what do you call that? The Lord's battle room. Like in the military where they have their room where they have the little army men on the table, and they're working out all of their battle plans and stuff. Command center, the command center. That's what that is. It's been the Lord's command center, the chakra 10 of the 2/3 fall grid. Chakras 10, 7, 4, and 1 fell so hard with the fall in the energy that they slanted the grid and pulled chakra 1 into the vertical pillar location. Chakra 1 was forced to plug into the planetary 12.0 lock gate to then pull stored energy from the planetary grids into the distorted chakra system, which first went into the distorted chakra 2. It has been stated in other information that the first planetary stargate to receive the energy of source is planetary stargate 2. And that has been true, because the only way the planet could receive the energy of source is via the eternal life forms that continued to incarnate into the system and plug their physical body into the planetary grids to feed the planet the birth quantum of energy they could bring unto the planet. And, of course, the physical body form is of chakra 2. So that wasn't really a lie to say that Planetary Stargate 2 was the first Stargate to receive the higher energy of Source. It has been true. But as we can see from the structure presented in Level 1, if you remember back to Level 1, the energy of Source flows from higher to lower levels of quantum and steps down just like walking down a set of stairs. When a planet or a life form can receive the higher energy of Source on their own, the higher energy spirals into the system, entering the 12-point stargate or chakra. It's the same thing, just depends on if you're looking at a large cosmic body or your own personal body, and steps down in energy, just like walking down a flight of steps. The higher energy of Source can only spiral into a planet via entering the planet's 12-point stargate and stepping down from higher to lower energy. If it was even possible to force it into a lower point first, it would blow up the planet. But of course, that's not possible. There is a back door that can allow more energy in and out of the system, though. And we'll look at that in a little while here. It has to function before that can occur. Planetary Stargate 12 became disconnected from the higher energy of Source during the Atlantean attack and could not receive the higher energy of Source. And recently I've been receiving lots of information about things like that, about the Atlantean attack and what was attacked. What was it, Planetary Stargate 12? It was a crystal generator that was attacked. And so why did it disconnect the planet from Planetary Stargate 12? So there's a whole lot of newer information that I've been receiving about that, and it goes in with the pyramids and and all of this stuff about Atlantis and then Egypt and all of these different things. And that's still all in my handwritten script at this moment. I haven't even started thinking about trying to make images, analogies for that. That should be interesting. So the only way to assist the planet to heal, to be able to repair the damage of the stargates, has been for the faces of Source to carry the energy of Source back unto the planet. And we've been doing that for over 26,000 years, until a critical mass point was reached when Planetary Stargate 12 could be repaired, or Planetary Stargate 11 could be repaired to plug it back into Planetary Stargate 12. And later we're going to see the location of the Planetary Stargates. And I am quite certain that is going to be a big surprise for a few people. In the image analogy of the embodied two-third fall grid, the crystal lines within the body are all frayed about. That's just me again trying to figure out how to create an image analogy to explain this piece here. This is not an accident. This is a representation of what the two-thirds fall grid did to the entire system. Because of the loss of two-thirds energy and the ripping apart of the connection between the chakras, it created frayed lines of energy, or you could think of them as loose wires, within the system that spew energy around. Medical science calls this loose energy spewing around within the body free radicals. And you have most likely heard reports of how free radicals can create physical body illness. Free radicals are but one reason why cells die, which ultimately leads to death of the physical body. The spewing of loose energy within the physical body could be compared to something like static electricity, as it creates chaotic energy that builds up a charge, and the charge has to do something, and that's when it can kill cells. And we have all most likely experienced the quick shock of static electricity at some point in our lives. For the most part, your physical body protects you from becoming aware of these inner shocks of energy. But of course, the process worsens with age. The process of what science calls free radicals worsens with age as the body runs out of energy, via constantly trying to repair itself as cells die. And each time a new cell is created to replace a dying cell, the DNA is shortened to the point that when the physical body death occurs, the DNA is pretty much non-existent. A healthy diet that includes lots of fruits and vegetables are suggested to slow down the process of increasing the buildup of free radicals. And it can assist the situation, but a healthy diet can assist, but it cannot stop the inevitable of physical body death, not within this mutated genome. Our physical body uses a whole lot of energy to digest the food that we put into it, and it requires more energy for the body to break down dense food such as red meat and pork, because those meats are extremely dense to begin with before we turn them into food and put them into the body. It's a personal choice. I'm not telling you not to eat those kind of foods. There's so much things going wrong that have to be healed within the anatomy that's kind of a moot point, kind of like a dot on the page of all of the things that have to heal. So I'm not saying don't go eat red meat or pork. If that's your preference, then you have free will to do what you want to. I'm just explaining to you that the body uses more energy to break down those types of substances because they're very dense to begin with. And when you add things like processed sugars and a lot of carbs, our body is working really hard to try to digest those foods and to gain any kind of nutrition from it to fuel the body and constantly repair the damage that is occurring within the body. The body can break down fruits, vegetables, and things like fish or fowl much easier because they're not as dense. Perhaps your mother told you when you were a child, or maybe someone told you, to chew your food at least 20 times before swallowing it. Well, that's why. She may not have known what she was talking about, but she was correct. Because especially if you're putting something in your body that is extremely dense, such as red meat and pork, and you assist the body by breaking it up into as small pieces as you can before letting it go into the body, then it can assist the body to digest that product and get the protein from it that the DNA requires. It won't take as much energy if it can be ground up really small. Of course, the processed food industry has simply added to the distortion with all of the chemicals they put into the food system, and make it even harder for the body to break these foods down and then to try to rid the body of the chemicals, which of course can facilitate physical body death much faster. So it's a massive issue here, and it's not going to go away tomorrow. It's going to take time to heal. Add to this issue the immune system becoming weaker because so much energy is spent on trying to take care of breaking down the food and heal the damage of the toxins. Then the body becomes a breeding ground for bacteria and viruses, which then taxes the body energy even more and compromises the immune system. So it's a never-ending battle within our physical bodies. That's why I say not only is our outer hologram a toxic environment, but it's very toxic inside of our physical bodies as well. And it's the toxicity of this environment that an eternal life form that's not dealing with these distortions could not exist here. Well, exactly the same way that we do. When we incarnate into the system, we take on the distortion, we take on the mutation, and an eternal life form, if they simply tried to step into the hologram, just appear before you in physical form right before your eyes, they would become sick very, very quickly from the toxins that exist within this hologram. The current distorted DNA cannot be activated to run higher energy and allow for biological ascension to occur, because it cannot code unless it has protein, which means unless we feed the body protein, the body will die much faster. The body can go longer without food than it can without water, because the process of the cells dying via lack of protein is a slower process than the body not having water to circulate what protein it holds through the body. In order for the DNA to run higher energy, the full body system must be able to run the higher energy of source. And the process of the creation of free radicals simply will not allow that to occur within the 2/3 fall grid. That's why there's many things, other things to share with you later on about the concept of DNA and DNA activation. And what creates DNA? Where does it come from? What does it mean? We'll look at that eventually. But it's never been a process of activating the mutated DNA that the physical body shines forth upon the current human physical body, because that's not possible. The DNA that allows for these mutated physical bodies is not the DNA of the eternal life form. The DNA of the eternal life form is not even expressing within this false reality field at this time. So you cannot turn on or activate something that is mutated and not able to run the energy of source to run higher energy of source through it to allow for something like ascension to occur. What the actuality of the healing is doing is transmuting the DNA. The DNA for the eternal life expression is held in the coding that science calls junk DNA, but it's not coding within the current DNA within the physical body. The process of the eternal life grid coming back online, the chakras coming back into alignment, and much layers, a whole lot of layers of healing that has to occur, is the process of transmuting the DNA back into the DNA that belongs to the eternal life form. So it is a process of healing that does include healing the DNA as well. But it's not a process that you can just do 20 techniques and there your DNA's healed and now you can go do all of these wonderful things. It doesn't work like that. This is but a few reasons why the physical body healing is a slow process, or at least slow to us because we want it all yesterday in the larger process of healing. But it's not really slow. I mean, if we can conceptualize all of the healing that has had to occur to get us to this point where we can even contemplate these things, and is this real? Is this true? Or we can even think about it. The amount of healing that has had to occur to allow that to us to get to this point, then what we're be able to experience now, and we think it's slow, is really rapid. It's not going to take 26,000 years for us to continue to heal. And why healing must occur in layers, with the first need being the ability to become aware of and implement higher conscious thoughts, because the thoughts are what is creating the holographic body within the holographic reality field, as matter doesn't exist unless consciousness is looking or thinking about it to create it. That may make us think that we should be able to instantly heal the physical body with our thoughts, and we should be able to do just that. But doing so requires being able to run the required higher energy of source, and that is what the system is healing in layers to allow us to do. As has already been shared, creation is made of light and sound. The manifest expression of our physical body is light, and it emits sound tones. But the sound tones of our physical body are completely out of key as the result of many layers of distortions. And the frayed energy that creates what science calls free radicals is a major part of the body singing out of key. And the planet is singing out of key for the same reason, because the planet holds the same distortions we do within our physical body. A balanced system sings in harmony, which means the life forms on the planet emit balanced sound tones that assist the planet to remain in balance. Retuning of the 2/3 fall grid is not possible, as the energy required to do such cannot flow through it. But the planet and the eternal life forms are being retuned slowly as healing continues via the higher energy of source, transmuting the distortion that the fall grid created within the eternal life grid. Now, I don't know about you, but sometimes this retuning process doesn't seem to be slow to me. It seems to be happening very quickly sometimes. But everything that requires healing will not completely heal until the planet shifts back into her healed expression, as the original point of the distortion began when the planets were blown apart, which separated the male and female expression. The male and female expression must merge back into one form to allow for biological ascension to occur. And so that will not occur within this system, because the planets within this system will not be able to merge back together. They would never be able to do that anyway. There's been too much damage here. But when the planet heals and merges back into her healed expression, that will instantly occur. It will be the healed solar system that this solar system, this false reality field, fell from. So that will instantly occur. For those who, in the meantime, drop their physical body, that they leave the planet via what has become the natural process of leaving the hologram by dropping the physical body, because of the healing that has occurred now, and no longer having to reincarnate here. When your counterpart expression, be it male or female, is finished with, if they're still in body, and they're finished with their life experience, then you will automatically merge back into your male-female union expression to be able to then sit back in the 3-point seat. And we'll talk some more about that later. What does that mean? Sitting back in the 3-point seat, merging back into your mental body. We can look at the embodied fall grid and discover many other things that create illness within the physical body form. The displacement and drop in energy of chakras 1 and 2 create ovarian cancer and prostate cancer and all of these female part issues. They create issues with the menstrual cycle, birth defects, and challenging labors. They are the root reason for the lack of communication between the male and female expression. Further mutation was performed via lab genetic manipulation upon the human race by the ET godlets who came to Earth to create a race of life forms they could control and to do their bidding for them. The female genome was manipulated to allow her, the female, to retain some connection with her emotions, so that she would be a good caretaker of the offspring and not eat them. The male genome was manipulated to create a warrior type of mentality, to create good armies and physical laborers. So the current disconnection between male and females, not being able to, are men from wherever, females are from wherever, not being able to communicate with each other, is not simply a result of selective listening or not caring about emotions. We were purposefully designed to express as this, and it's healing. And more people are starting to, what is that term? Get in touch with their emotions. This is why. We'll see some more about that when we look at the brain later. The loss of the second heart and the drop in energy of the remaining heart is responsible for all heart issues, such as heart attack, heart disease, which statistics report is the #1 cause of physical death. Of course, chakra 6, being taken out of commission, shrunk the pineal gland and made it inoperable, which shut off open communication to the higher family of consciousness. It also creates physical eye issues. No wonder most of us end up having to wear glasses if we don't start out that way. Chemical substances cannot decalcify the pineal gland, even though there are people that would like to believe their substance will do that, as that's not what caused it to reach that state to begin with. The only thing that can spark it into healing and regeneration is the higher energy of source. We're going to talk a whole lot more about chakra 6 here in a little bit. The displacement of chakras 7 and 8 is the result of earaches and hearing issues, as well as deafness. Chakra 9, when it's activated in its healed vertical pillar position, allows for a contact platform where you can consciously sit, like creating a mini you of yourself and sitting within that chakra on your head, and communicate with your Christed identity of the 12-point chakra. But that has not been possible for most of the population because chakra 9 was thrown out of alignment and rewired. Chakras 10 and 11 are the left and right brain, and they're supposed to work together as one unit. There should not be left and right brain thinkers, or those who think via mental reasoning only, or those who think via their feelings only. They should work together to translate all energy to our awareness. Energy from the outer environment and energy from our higher levels of our consciousness, our family, and the thoughts that your physical body is speaking to you from your inner child. There should be an open flow of energy going back and forth within both hemispheres of the brain that allow you to see all options within any given situation, to make a more balanced, informed choice about anything. You should not have to make choices blindly or unaware and hope for the best possible outcome. Of course, this means that what people have believed to be the 7 main embodied chakras for thousands of years are distorted chakras 1, 2, 2.75, 4, 5, 8, and 11. But no one has been able to know that, so they've simply been counted in linear order. It continues to be a process of healing which allows the people of Earth to understand more of their inner and outer environment. And it does not really matter at this point if people desire to hold on to their belief of the embodied chakras and just call them 1 through 7 and go on about their business as they've always done. It doesn't matter because the eternal life forms are going to heal regardless. The source is healing itself, so they're going to heal regardless. It might be able to be a faster healing process for them if people were able to think outside of their accepted belief and say, well, maybe this is something I should look at here. But it's not really going to matter. Everybody is exactly where they're supposed to be in their healing process. The eternal life grid was connected or reconnected to the planetary system on December 12, 2013, at which time it stood up straight within the planet and within the eternal life forms on the planet. But there is still much rewiring that must occur. We could think of this rewiring as new neural networks growing within our body. And in my experience, that process is most intense within the head area. And we can see why it is most intense within the head area when we see how many of the chakras are located within the head. And it can sometimes create severe migraines, at least in my experience. So if you're waiting for your communication line to open, or you're waiting for it to open more fully, then it's because you're waiting on new neural networks to grow within your physical body to reconnect the chakra system, rewire it the way that it needs to be to allow that to happen. Consciously drawing the energy of Source through your vertical pillar and spreading it out through your physical body daily can assist that process, because only the energy of Source can heal all of these things that need to be healed within us. But we haven't talked much about Chakra 3 yet, as I've been purposely leaving that for the last on the list here, because of the 333 reconnection that occurred on February 12th, 2014. From our current expression as a plane 1 expression, having a physical body composed of frequency bands 1 and 2, our immediate vertical higher mind is the incarnate mind of our 3rd chakra, or the 3-point vertical pillar seat. That is you that chose to incarnate into the plane 1 expression of Earth. That is where your mental thoughts are supposed to come from, to flow through your physical body, which the brain then translates into awareness of your energy here imbued within the physical matter body. That is the part of your consciousness that is supposed to be in charge of your physical body. It's you that's supposed to be in charge of your physical body, your thoughts coming from that aspect of yourself, to tell the elements that and the chemicals that make up the physical body what to do, to give them instructions. You are supposed to have complete control over your physical body at all times. It should not take control and push you to make radical choices that in hindsight you wish you had not, such as crying out for a whole chocolate cake when mentally you know that that's not good for you. It could make you sick, but your physical body wants it. That's just an example. You should be able to heal any issue that occurs within your physical body simply by thinking with the thoughts of your incarnate mind, and communicating with your higher levels of mind, your higher conscious family, to send the energy of Source into any area within the body that requires healing. The third chakra is the direct, non-polarized expression of your vertical family of consciousness that spirals the flows of Source energy into your physical body and allows you to know that not only does Source exist, but that you are Source embodied. Obviously, the third chakra, incarnate mind, does not hold as much energy as the 6 point, 9 point, and 12 point of your vertical levels of family of consciousness. But it has open communication with them, and the higher information is sent to you, your awareness here, from those higher levels through down to the next step, down to the next step, to the third chakra, incarnate mind. And then your physical body translates that information to your awareness here. There are many people on the planet who have been getting information from the subconscious mind for many years at the 2.75 frequency band level, and think everything they receive from that level is truth. But if we can understand that the subconscious mind is still held within the polarized frequency bands of frequency band 2 of plane 1 at the 2.75 level, and that is the level that became infected with the cosmic virus in this reality field, it might allow us to understand that not all information that one gains from that level of mind is going to be accurate, because the virus is playing its little games there. Because of the distortion with the third chakra, because of the disconnection, I read the word wrong, of the third chakra, the incarnate mind and the subconscious mind is the level of mind that has been instructing the physical body, and neither have been able to receive the higher energy of Source. Our consciousness imbued within the physical body, us here, the way that we see or think of ourselves, has been trapped in time for a very long time and disconnected from the higher energy of Source as soon as we step into the physical body. This has created the inner child level of mind of the physical body that feels alone, terrified of everything, forgotten and unloved. This is where your feelings are coming from that you encounter that speak of those type of things. Fear, loneliness, forgotten, unloved, all of those sad types of emotions. That's where they're coming from, is your emotional body, which is your entire physical body, as thoughts stored within that part of your anatomy. In quite a bit here later, we'll look at layers of the planet to understand more about the connection that begins with the universal stargates of the Time Matrix galaxy. But for now, I can tell you that on February 12th, 2014, the shift into higher energy that occurred, the time shift that occurred on that date, allowed the 3-point third chakra, incarnate mind, to reconnect with the physical, emotional body of the eternal life forms on the planet and the planet. That means our inner child, our physical, emotional body, is finally reconnected to the higher energy of Source and is healing via leaps and bounds. If you listen to your inner child, you may discover the joy that is held within yourself now, because your inner child is finally receiving the light to shine within the darkness, to begin healing all of those terrifying things that it's been held within. As healing continues within your subtle energy body, becoming aware of it within your physical body takes some time. And that doesn't mean that it's going to heal all of the pain and issues that your physical body may be dealing with, because all of those things are multi-layered issues that have to heal incrementally as the energy can heal things. That source heals imbalance. So as something can heal, it will heal. And then the next piece will heal, and the next piece. But that's why a lot of the things will not heal here, but a lot of them will. And it depends on the physical condition and the biological age of the body. It is nice to know that regardless of the level of healing the physical body can experience, our consciousness within the body, us that is imbued within these physical matter bodies, and within the subconscious mind is healing rapidly, which means the distorted virus thoughts are being purged or healed from us. What might such a purging of distorted thoughts held within the emotional physical body experience as? This is what many people have recently been experiencing to heightened degrees within their personal lives, and most likely unaware, and is why I am asked to present this information to you, so that you can become aware of why your life might seem like it is falling apart at the seams, and how you can assist your process of healing. The distorted thoughts of our physical emotional body are held within us as dense energy that blocks out higher energy, or light, and have been compared to chunks of coal within information presented on the Ascension Whispers website. If we do become aware of the distorted thoughts purging from us via them working their way out into the hologram to experience, and drawing the necessary role players and events to us to allow us to purge them by walking through them. The role players and events may look totally different than any drama first connected to the thought patterns, but the current role players and events will present a similar drama that we walk through in the purging process. The higher energy of our emotional body that it's now able to receive is heating up those chunks of coal, or those low, dense, distorted thoughts. And as they heat up, they eventually purge from our system and return to source for instant healing. Depending on the strength of the distorted energy held within those distorted thought patterns, they may present within our hologram as they go through the process of purging. They may draw people back into our lives for a brief time that we thought we had rid ourselves of a long time ago, or they may bring up any multitude of emotional feelings. They may shift us into places and experiences that we have already encountered once and really do not desire to repeat the experience. It is important to know of these things so we can become aware if they do show up in our hologram and choose how we want to allow them to affect us or not. How we choose to deal with them will determine if they can quickly purge from us. If we allow ourselves to step into the old, already experienced patterns of engagement, then we are simply adding more of the same to the same within us. The absolute strongest way to release anything held within the emotional body is to forgive all of it. The experience, the players, the emotions, and yourself. Forgiveness can be very hard for many people, but until we forgive all aspects held within the thought, we may continue to hold it within us. It is very helpful in this process of clearing these distorted virus thoughts from our plane one expression to know that we did not literally, physically experience all of them. Think of times when your body has been ill with a smaller virus that has laid you up in a sick bed and ravaged your body with fever. And you may have had strange dreams, nightmares, and thoughts become disjointed, and you may even speak strange things. Of course, this is a result of the virus attacking the biology and the body attacking back, which creates the fever. The fever is the body turning on higher energy that it can to purge itself of the virus that is attacking it. As you lie in that sick bed and have all of these strange dreams and thoughts, you are not physically experiencing them in your life, but they can seem very real within you as the virus plays out its little tricks. So we have not physically or consciously partaken in the creation of all of the distorted thoughts that became trapped within us and that are now purging. In knowing that, it can become easier to allow us to forgive ourselves for anything that we become aware of that we feel sorry for. The same applies to distorted thoughts that may become aware in the purging process from other lifetime incarnations. They may not become aware, and if they don't, that's a wonderful thing. There's a lot of things we will not become aware of as they heal from us, and count your blessings for that. We may think that we played a role and that we were so-and-so, and we did terrible things, and we need to make amends for those terrible things, those terrible memories that are coming up from us. But they are false virus implanted memories. It does not matter what we may have partaken in during another point in time, as we should not be holding on to any distorted thought memories, wherever they originated from. The higher energy of source should instantly purge all such lower, denser thought patterns from us. But that has not been possible, because the higher energy of source was not available to do so. Which means every distorted emotional thought we have encountered, we have stuffed into our physical emotional body, because that is the only way we have been able to deal with it and retain some form of sanity. Because it has been necessary to have a biological mother and father create a matter body to allow consciousness to step into the hologram. The matter form that is created holds the programming of the biological parents, which means that as soon as we birth here, we pick up whatever mom and dad are carrying with them, and it then becomes ours to clear as well. Since the higher energy of source has not been available to purge these dense, distorted thought patterns from us, we spend most of our lives trying to purge what we inherited from mom and dad, never reaching the point of purging our own stuff. And then we continue to add more to the distorted thoughts from what we shove into the physical emotional body. Then we eventually experience physical body death and come back and do it all over again. So there's a whole lot of distorted thoughts that have to be purged from us. And as I said, most of them are doing so without us even becoming aware of them. Thank Source. This is why it is extremely important to be aware of this process of purging. And this is what the concept of karma is actually about. We should never have to walk through distorted thought patterns to make amends for something that occurred within a holographic play. For example, if you go watch a stage play, go to Broadway or someplace and watch a stage play, and the play involves someone pretending to hurt another in some way, you recognize it as a play, and when the play is over, the actors and actresses sit around and compliment each other on their performance, because they know it is a play. So too is the life experience. It's a play, and each of us are playing many different character roles. That does not mean we cannot feel sorrow for our character role and feel the need to say, "I'm sorry." But it does mean that once we have done so with sincere compassion, we need to release it and not stuff it within ourselves. If someone chooses not to forgive us, they have the right to do that. And they're working on their own process of healing. We do not have the right to heal anyone but ourselves. We do not have the right to offer healing to another without their permission. So we need to learn to forgive ourselves. And when we can recognize the truth that it's a play and we're playing character roles, someone that you encounter may need a character role, someone to play a character role for something that they need to become aware of and clear from themselves. And you may be holding the coding to play that role, to play that actor. And so you're drawn to them and the drama plays itself out. It's a play. It's all a play. Every single moment that we encounter in our lives is specifically allowing us the opportunity to look within and think about what is held there, to allow us to experience in that moment. Honing our skills for energy sensing can be quite helpful to steer us through the landmines held within ourselves. Allowing ourselves to stop in the moment to feel and think about what we are feeling is of the utmost importance to purge these distorted thoughts from us. Understanding that no one, absolutely no one, has power over us unless we allow them to, is of great importance. No one makes us feel anything. They may push our buttons to bring up those held feelings from within ourselves, but it is ourselves that allows us to feel whatever we feel. How we feel is a choice, and we can choose to feel, think, and act or react differently